You are listening to the ReRACEables Podcast.
Hello again, and welcome to the ReRACEables Podcast for the Season 34 finale recap. Welcoming in Lizzy and Nicole. Thank you both for being here. Thank you for being here all season long. I hope that you both have had a good time with this and enjoyed the season as much as I have.
Always.
All right, so without further ado, spoiler alerts. If you haven't watched the season 34 finale, you might want to do that before you continue listening or watching the podcast. But we have a new champion of season 34, and it's none other than Derek and Claire.
Derek and Claire.
Congratulations to them. Well done. The reality TV, Big Brother romance. Purple team gets it done in the end. Did the right team win? Let's start there.
I think so. I think back to what my favorite episode that we do, which is our rankings podcast. It's before the season starts. We run everything down and we say why we think people are going to do well. And I had Derek and Claire ranked second. And so for all the reasons that I put them that high is why I think they deserved to win. I will say Lewis and Michelle surprised me as the season went on. I liked them more and more. And I was starting to root for them, but I wasn't surprised at all when Derek and Claire marched in that auditorium door first. I think they were on it all season.
I think there was no clear, real front runner this season. I think they all were very, and we talked about this in our Power Rankings episode, how we were predicting that they were all kind of equal. And that's how I felt throughout the season. So could it have, Tom always says, if they ran the race 100 times, how many times does Derek and Claire win? I think, yes, they deserved it. But also it could have equally have been Lewis and Michelle. It could have been Emily and Molly. But this time it happened to be Derek and Claire that won, and they deserved it. Even though I hated on Claire all season. And to the very end, you're in a race for $1 million. You're nearing the finish line. How are you not sprinting? How are you complaining about a cramp? Really, Claire?
A lot of money coming at you to fix whatever surgery you're going to need running on your leg.
I do think the right team won. Coming into it, they had the clear advantage. Even though this was a season, it turns out that there really wasn't many advantages to really have, right? There was no U-turns. There was no, what's that one called? Yields. There was no airport travel. There was no major catch-up points, really. It was like whoever is going to run the most flawless race or most flawless leg is going to have a good chance of moving on. And in the end, whoever runs the most flawless final leg will win. And I think that's what kind of made this season not the greatest that this show has ever had, because of those kind of like the little lack of drama in that sense. But we did get the drama in. It was so tight and you couldn't make a mistake. And if you did, you fell behind minutes. And if you didn't make the mistakes like Derek and Claire didn't, you win. And you finish first.
To that point on this leg anyway, I credit Molly and Emily even more for their ability to come back in challenges. I think they said it at the end of last episode. That's where they catch up. And they drove the complete opposite direction off the bridge, still managed to turn around and then still beat Lewis and Michelle. And that's really incredible on them. So they also didn't run a perfect leg, obviously, because they didn't get first place, but they really are something, and they were a team to be competed with. And I know they didn't look like it, and I know I didn't think that they were, but to their credit, they definitely, I think, deserved second place this leg.
I was shocked that not only I didn't think they'd finish. I mean, I
Yeah.
gave them very little credit initially, but then they surprised me. But given the leg situation, the knee, I kept every leg thinking, oh, they got to be next. They got to be next. Look at her crying. She's hobbling. They came in second. That was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I was rooting for them for at least the last half of the season.
Yeah.
Miracle that they got to the end, given Emily's knee situation. I think the condensed version of the race that they ran really helped them in some ways too. I think if they would have had to do a little bit more traveling, right? They only did 23 days, not the typical like 30 days. They didn't do as many miles, as many cities, they didn't travel as much, it seems. I think that played into them finishing second, but as we said all season long, by far the most incredible story. I was pissed that they didn't win, and I think if you asked everybody candidly who they were rooting for that wasn't in the final three, I think it's pretty obvious that all of them were rooting for Emily and Molly to win, because I know we were. Lizzy, you were rooting for them to win?
Yeah, reluctantly. Like I was, but like every time they would do well, I'd be like, yeah, they did good. And then but looking back, like I never thought of them first.
Mm-hmm.
I would look at my rankings and be like, I thought they were gonna be out first. So I had this like premonition to not root for them. And then on screen they would be doing clearly very well. And I'd be like, yeah, okay. It makes sense for me to root for them. I don't know. I had a weird like relationship with that the whole season. It's very weird.
I think we all got them wrong, and we got them wrong from the very, very beginning. I think we all put Asta and Nina kind of in that all-female team that'll outperform what we maybe thought they would role. And I think literally after they got eliminated first, we were like, whoop, well, we got that wrong. And Emily and Molly were actually the team to be reckoned with. In third place, still respectable. They crossed the finish line. It's Lewis and Michelle, Team Miami. Well done by them as well. Finished and crossed the finish line. I had them at number 2. I felt confident in them just from the 1-minute video and in my power rankings. I thought that they had in the field of people, like Nicole said earlier, that seemed all kind of the same and didn't give us that much. Again, we only watched a minute, but they alluded to their competitiveness. They alluded to the $1 million. They gave us that we're going to be here and we're going to be competing. And I think they ended up right where they belonged in the final 3. And, you know, a couple limitations, a couple hesitations, a little minor mistake here and there. Michelle on the bridge, and we'll talk about that. But like that was the difference for them. And I thought it was funny in the end, the dancers, and they're all about music, and they're dancing, and they're this, and they big smiles. It's like they go to Nashville and they're a fish out of water. Like they are in this capital of like the music city, and they are completely
Don't know what an acoustic guitar looks like.
Couldn't tell one from an electric guitar. That I really was shocked by that.
Come on.
I get it that Mr. Worldwide Pitbull is not necessarily an instrument player, but like, come on, Michelle, you're on stage, you're dancing, you didn't look at the instruments ever. Lewis, you're a dancer, like you never. How is that possible? That was crazy. You guys had them lower ranked than I did. Where did you go wrong with Lewis and Michelle?
Watching their first interview, I thought they were going to be a lot more like hot-headed than they just seemed like, because they're already married and they know each other so well, and people that go into this race having that relationship usually kind of snap at each other quicker, especially I feel like couples. And so I just got the vibe that they were going to just like be one of those explosive teams and shoot themselves in the foot kind of early on. I did not expect how well they were going to communicate. I did not expect them to kind of power through and lift each other up in the way that they did, and that was really great to watch. And that I was happy to be proven wrong, like I was expecting them to kind of be their own detriment in that way, but they weren't. They were great.
Yeah, so Lizzy had them 9th and Nicole, you had them 10th. Where did you go wrong? What did you miss on them?
Yeah, I had no faith in them. I thought they were a lot less intelligent than they were. And I agree. I thought they were like gonna be one of those hot-headed Latino yelling at each other couples, and I guess that's just a stereotype that I'll let get the best of me.
You can eat your hat, Nicole.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us. So just closing out kind of the rankings of the 3 teams that crossed the finish line. Like, why did we not have Derek and Claire first? Was it we didn't want to pick them because of the whole reality TV thing? Did you really not believe in them? Did you see a weakness? Like, why did we not have them first? It seems almost like stupid on our part. Am I way off?
What did I have them at?
You had Derek and Claire ranked fifth,
Fifth.
Nicole.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I didn't know how to read them. I didn't watch Big Brother, so I didn't know how are they strategy wise, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. I felt like they were like, oh, they just started dating, they probably don't know each other that well, this is a reality TV gimmick, like do they really deserve to be here? So I just didn't really have much faith in them, but I didn't think they were incompetent. They were just kind of like middle of the road people to me.
I think that's an interesting point, Tom, saying the reality TV thing and not wanting to root for them. Like, if you take the angle that where it's like they've already been on TV, they've already been famous, they've already had their limelight. I remember thinking that I had like a clear bottom few teams, a lot of middle of the pack people, and then 2 or 3 top ranking teams. And I think I probably did bump up Abby and Will because they're like these 2 young kids from Georgia, and that's who you want to see win, like people that
Yes.
meet success multiple times in their life. It's like hard to root for those people over and over again. You want the underdog to win. So I think I saw great potential in both Derek and Claire and Abby and Will, but I'm sure in ranking them, I bumped up Abby and Will for that exact reason.
I agree. And to build on that, I didn't want to put Derek and Claire first. I knew that they belonged right there at the top, and I had to figure out a way to keep them in the contenders or favorite category. But I didn't want to put them at the top, even though they had the clear advantage. And I brought it up in the rankings podcast. Like, they hang out with Will and James all the time. They live in LA. Like, you don't think they got every bit of strategy from them that they could have? Now, did it help them? Maybe, yes. I don't know. In the end, they could have sucked at the final challenge and it wouldn't have mattered, but it still helped them progress through and be more prepared than anyone else. And another part that was an advantage for them that Marcus brought up in the podcast I did with him the other night. Sure to check that out if you haven't on our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe there. But Marcus talked about how one thing that was tough for him and Michael was the adjustment to the cameras. And like just that reality and that piece of it. But you have Derek and Claire who are just the social butterfly camera hogs that they are. I mean, Derek literally was on Big Brother, then he was on the Challenge USA, and then he's on the Amazing Race and he wins. Like, what the hell did they see in Derek? I like Derek. He seems like a great
Wait,
guy.
Derek was on the
He's smart.
challenge?
The Challenge USA that was in the summer. Yeah.
The one that we watched a few episodes of?
I think we watched like the first two, like Tyson was on it. Some of the bigger names from the Survivor, Big Brother, Amazing Race. James was on it from Amazing Race.
Mm-hmm.
Like all those people were on it. It's like somehow they're like sewing themselves to this Derek guy, and I guess to their credit, he wins the Amazing Race. Like unbelievable, right? But I don't think it's that much of a coincidence. And he has the network of people, the Will and the Jameses, to help him strategize and prepare. And Claire's no dummy. Like Claire is super smart, and she was on Big Brother too, so she has that camera experience and reality TV experience for whatever that's worth. But in the end, when they cross the finish line and they're talking, and there's the fake proposal, like Derek makes that joke. Why does he make that joke? Because of Will and James, right? Right? Or at least in part.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, maybe.
And
Well,
like-
and just in general, like playing to the big TV finale moment.
Right. And I don't know, like I was just like, great. All right. They deserve to win. We already talked about that, but like, okay, like they were emotional, but like, no, it felt like they were supposed to be there.
It wasn't
And
life-changing for them.
no.
Yeah.
And then who walks in next? Who runs in next? The team that should have won, that everybody wanted to win. That met each other as identical twins, long lost, like for 36 years. And they just met a year ago and they just ran this race. Like, come on. That was the team that should have won. Damn it.
Yeah. So, but at the beginning of the podcast, you said the right team won.
I know but they did. The right team did win, right? It's like when the Patriots won, right? Or right now this season,
Sports
it's like,
references are lost on this crowd, Tom. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, well, it's just when the obvious favorite wins, it's what's supposed to happen. But is it the Cinderella story? No.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we do like the favorites winning because that's what's supposed to happen. But I don't know. Emily and Molly, to me, like their story was so unique and so amazing. And you can just tell that they were there for much more than just to win a reality show. And go 1 for 3, as Derek now is 1 for 3 on winning reality TV shows.
Since the year 2022, something I like doing once I've completed watching a season of reality television is then go to the contestants' social media pages and see where are they at now. And I was curious because I don't follow any of these people on The Amazing Race other than Marcus, my buddy now.
Man.
Like what are they up to? Are Derek and Claire still together? Have they bought the apartment?
Yes.
Like what are the updates?
Well, that's the thing that I can tell you as I follow all of them.
I know you do.
Derek and Claire just moved into a really nice apartment. And there was like all these videos of them in a really nice apartment. And moving into
So you knew they won.
Apartment. Well, I didn't know they won, but it didn't seem like they were hiding this new beginnings for their relationship, is what I'll say.
Is Team Croqueta with child?
It doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem that way. From what I can tell, again, they're just amazing raced out right now. So, but no kid, because otherwise they'd be posting about it.
How often do Emily and Molly see each other?
They're not really as social media active as the other two are. It would go probably in order from Derek and Claire to Louis and Michelle to Ellie and Molly. But like they did just post something tonight in anticipation of the finale regarding a TikTok with their handle being Soul Sisters, spelled like Seoul, Korea. With what looked like Emily's daughter, I'm gonna guess, doing some dance and some lip sync thing that I don't really understand, but you could tell that's not really their forte, being on TikTok and doing that.
Yeah.
But shout out, go follow them. They're awesome people, amazing story. So let's move on to the final challenge, which was at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. There was this 4-piano, like something out of FAO Schwartz in the movie Big with Tom Hanks and Robert Loggia. No chopsticks playing, but instead they had to play notes that correspond to images in the race. And they had to hit every note, which was 11. It was 11 notes that displayed 11 pictures for 11 legs in the race in under 11 seconds.
Love the challenge. Thought I like how it was a summary of all events, which they usually are, but this was a good way of doing it. I like that it tied in the theme song. I like that it tied in, like, if someone had a piano ability, they could somewhat use that to their advantage. I like that they needed to like strategize who's covering each side of the piano, but the time ticking down aspect to it. I thought it was great.
I saying this as a viewer from my couch, I felt like it was an easier memory challenge than I feel like we've seen in the past. Like it seemed a little less involved, and that's why I think they put the timer on it, because you had to have some sort of like more high pressure element to it that made it more difficult. Because I think just, pressing a button to match the picture of a thing that you did, to my knowledge, I couldn't tell if it had to be chronological or not. What did it have to be chronological, or did you just have to recognize pictures? It did. Okay. Well, there you go. But I stand by that still. It didn't seem as nearly as difficult as what I feel like Will and James's, for example. Like that seemed like they were there for hours trying to figure that out, the finale last time. And they made it seem like they weren't there for very long, any of them. But it was a good, but I agree, it was a good challenge. It was fun to have the live orchestra on top too.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. I love that they put the theme song and wove that in there. I'm a sucker for a live orchestra. I love that. So, but it was really clever. It was really good in that sense. I love the giant screen. I love that it's spaced out like it was. I love that they're playing piano with their feet. I thought from like a viewing television production standpoint, you could really see everything. You could kind of see them hustling. They had the cameras above. They had the camera to show the whole wide shot of everything. They had the giant X every time that they got something wrong. I like that. You could hear their reactions. I love that the orchestra was just kind of perched up there, just kind of waiting for somebody to be successful and basically win the $1 million. That's really exciting. But I guess I want it to be harder. I want it to be more of like a puzzle that they have to figure something out that's a little bit more challenging than go to the little notebook that you wrote down every single thing because you had nothing to do but just do that. And it was just a matter of oh, Derek and Claire finally figured out that time was counting down. Like, how the hell do you not? I get it. Okay, I understand that you're literally at the end of the Amazing Race, and if you get this, you are going to win $1 million, and that is as high a stakes as you could ever have. But that was really it. And it was the images, and the images were not obvious, but they were kind of obvious, right? There was a little bit of flags or a little bit of a person. It's kind of the same thing we saw at the tennis stadium last season with Kim and Penn edging out Kayla and Raquel. But I don't know, is that just what this challenge is? Sounds like you guys were kind of like, Lizzy, it sounds like you were kind of let down by it.
I wasn't let down. A finale is always exciting. I
Okay.
just think I know what the Amazing Race is capable of, and this wasn't it. But I think that's how this whole season has been. I know what the Amazing Race is capable of, and this wasn't it.
I agree.
So the finale lived up to what the season was, and it was a good finale for this season. But I feel like that qualifier kind of has to be in there. You know what I mean?
Agreed. And I think that that's been a common thread through every single podcast we've done and every episode we've watched this season is there was just something missing, right, to this season. And I think even though they were in Nashville, the last example, right? They're in Nashville, the leg starts, everybody starts in the same place, and they're already in the city. And they know this is the final city and this is where it's going to end. And it's cool that they're all there and that it's going to be very, very, very close. But like, there's something that's taken away from, right? There's just something that isn't there.
We were in all different places around the world, and all of a sudden it's Nashville. Like, it felt detached.
Right,
There
because
was
they show the
no-
graphic, they fly, boop, we're just in Nashville, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you take away the element of like fly yourself back to the United States to Nashville. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
right.
we all know. Anyone listening to this knows.
Yeah. All right, so we'll close out on this. So every year, every season, we start with our power rankings, and we rank them from 11 or 12 to 1. And in the end, whoever has the lowest score wins. And we do it for the top 3 and the top 1. So without further ado, the winner of the top 3 power rankings prediction is none other than me. I won with a low score of 14, which was I had Lewis and Michelle ranked 2nd, Derek and Claire ranked 4th, and Emily and Molly ranked 8th. The big win there was that you both had them 12th, so thank you for that. I should put this little nugget in before we announce the top 1, that both Lizzy and I had Abby and Will number 1, and they technically never got eliminated. They had to get medevaced or whatever you want to bring in the Survivor reference. But with the highest prediction of the winner, which was Derek and Claire, was Lizzy. She had them number 2, so congrats to Lizzy.
Thanks. I'll take my consolation prize.
I will just say this, and I'm curious how you both feel, given that your number 12 team, like mine, was in it for a healthy majority of the season, and for you guys right down to the end. I love Michael and Marcus, especially Marcus. Shout out to Marcus, but I was very happy that they didn't win and I didn't look that stupid. Do you feel the same way with Emily and Molly not winning and having a 12th place team that you guys had ranked winning? Lizzy?
Kind of. They never got eliminated technically, so my rankings still suffered because I put them there. If they had gone out instead of Aubrey and David, then I would feel like less of a big dummy, but that's not what happened. So here we are.
Cole?
Yeah, my rankings went out the window a while ago, so it was a lost cause.
Well, no, I mean, you did have the outrageous ranking of Linton and Sharik at number 2, but You did have Aubrey and David, like Jeremy did as well, right down to the penultimate episode. So you didn't do that bad. But in the end, Nicole, you did finish fourth with 27 and a high score.
Thank you for reminding everybody.
Well, that does it for us here on the ReRACEables Podcast. I want to thank Nicole and Lizzy for being here tonight and throughout the season and making this as fun as it is. I love hanging out with you guys and talking about The Amazing Race, show that we all love. And I hope that we can do this again for season 35, or maybe one or two of us will be on the show.
That's not a spoiler, is it, Tom?
I hope it is, but at this point, it is not. So, any parting words?
This is fun. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Be sure to out, comment, and outshare the rest. Be sure to catch all of our podcasts. If you missed any and you want to catch up, you can catch them on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe there. And thanks for your support. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.